All right. For once, first time ever, I'm going to try and do a job start to finish without, say, 90% of it missing where I've not recorded that. I'm just pulling my trousers up a little bit there. What we're doing, the back road bomber, because we live in the middle of nowhere, we do everything on back roads, so we have a little cheap runaround car for that. A year ago when we bought this Fiesta, the clutch was hanging out of it, and it's come to that time where we really got to do it now. It's bad. And also on the near side front, there's a knock on it when you change direction, which tells me it's probably the lower arm, so I'll have a look at that while we're at it. Anything else?
Oh, the list is long.
There's a long list. So we're going to crack on with the Fiesta anyway, give it a couple of days. At least then a clutch, probably a wishbone or something, or a lower arm or something, I don't know. But we're going to do it.
I'm interested to see how much clutch you've got left.
Yeah, because we're not entirely sure. When we bought it, I had leaking injectors, and because we never buy anything that's not a problem. And it was all leaking down into the bell housing, so we're not sure if the clutch plates are contaminated and leaking, spinning because of that, or if it's worn. It doesn't smell of burning diesel or burning clutch. As Lisa says, we're a bit interested to see how far down it's gone. It's to the point, I mean, it's not exactly the world's most powerful car, but even then, when the turbo boosts, it makes it spin. So there we are. Let's have a look. I don't want to hear me waffle all day long, do you?
Let's go.
Let's have a cup of tea. There we are, up in the air. We've undone both bottom ball joints, dropped the wheels off, all the exciting stuff, taken the hub nuts off the end of the drive shafts. Before I do anything else now, I really ought to take the battery off because it's got to come out. I'm going to be messing about with it. I'll have to leave the ignition on so I can have the steering unlocked and, yeah, no. But the battery has to come out, so I have to get the battery tray out as well, I think. Kind of winging it a bit with this one. I've never done a Fiesta before, so it could be fun. It's more than likely going to be something crop up, isn't there? But I've mentioned before in previous videos, this used to be a police car. And as such, it's had a relatively well-serviced life. And I don't think 2018 it was still in service, because it's up there, I've got all the details from the police up on the bonnet. So if you think it did 10 years in the police force, and it was last serviced by them at 87,655 miles. It's currently on 116, 117, I don't know, 120, be generous. So it did quite well. I had quite a good life out of them. Unfortunately for the car now, it just spends all its life blasting up and down the back roads of Pembrokeshire, but yeah, in a previous video we did actually, Lisa was tidying up in here and she found some police memorabilia. That's a lot easier. It's always the case, isn't it? 2 out of the 3 bolts come out, the other one disintegrates. Might be able to recover that. Or not, is the case may be. Right, as I'm waiting for the 3rd bolt soaking, that made sense, didn't it? As the 3rd bolt that holds the battery tray in is soaking, I'm waiting for that to free off a bit and try and get it out. I'll go back underneath and have a quick look under here. Little plastic cover. There's your gear selector cables that go in there, and I think, I'm not 100% right, but I think you'll find the oil drain behind there. We probably should drain the oil out of this. And there it is, oil drain plug. You can't see it, I can, just there. So that'll give me something to do for the next few minutes while I wait for that to soak in. And hold your horses. Drain plug, gear selector cables. Pretty sure, I'll shoot myself in the foot with this one as well. Pretty sure these just pop off, these cables, and I'll get them out of the way. That's another job done as well. And the plugs. As of yet, I've not found any loose, no play in the bottom ball joints or anything like that, so still working on that one as well. And true form, GoPro batteries don't last. Right, let's knock the gearbox oil out of this then. Do you know what? I really should put my torch on, which I've stuck somewhere. Has anybody seen? It's a favourite hobby of mine, this is stick the torch to something metallic, then walk away and forget where you've put it. It's normally one of the masts for the lift, but not today. I'll put it on charge. Jesus. Right, back to it. Right, this plastic case, which you can't see probably, that doesn't appear to come off the gearbox very easily, so I'm assuming that the oil just runs down and out of that, in which case I will lower this down somewhat because that's going to come out like a waterfall. That's not too bad. It's a little bit dark, but it's still see-through. And there's absolutely no debris on the bottom at all on the magnet. Surprising. Oh well, not laying down there all day. One quick cup of tea later, and that has suitably drained itself. And as I was having a cup of tea and didn't notice, it seems to have dripped all over the floor as well. Hey. So yeah, just mop up the excess on this and I'll chuck the plug back in for the time being. Keep any muck out of it. If you're remotely curious, the end of that is as clean as a whistle. And I'm pretty sure there should be a magnet in there that stops, catches all the swarf. Finger tight that one. Let's do the exciting thing and do a bit of CSI on the fluid that came out. See what colours we've got in there and what grit and stuff. Alright, this is really thrilling viewing here. CSI gearbox oil. It's, yeah. If I...
Give it a swirl.
It stinks, to be honest with you.
Let's try that.
Yeah. So I've got my helpful assistant today.
I can see a little glitter in there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Tiny, tiny pieces.
Well, that's what you'd expect from a 120,000 mile car, though, isn't it?
What are we thinking?
That's quite pretty, isn't it?
On the whole, though, not too bad.
No, there's no bits. There's no chunks, yeah. But it is tired. It smells.
Very tired. It does smell, actually. It smells,
Not burned, but...
yeah, not quite burned. Barbecued.
Not burned, barbecued. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. This wasn't an experiment for the gearbox anyway. This is a clutch. So yeah. Oh, that's a really attractive shot. Stand back, ladies. I'm a married man. Yeah, so far we've got the gearbox oil out. We've dropped the two ball joints on the front, taken some wheels off, battery come out, and some other bits and bobs. Multiple cups of tea, a long discussion, and I've ordered some batteries for my vernier caliper. That was noisy. That's probably ought to carry on with something else.
Yeah, what's next?
I'll probably... I think I'll get the drive shafts out,
Yeah.
pop drive shafts out, and then start inspecting what I've got to take off to get to the gearbox mounts. Because there is some weird things on this I've seen. It's got like an engine mount on the back of it that holds the gearbox on. And... yeah. So as I can see from here, we got a mount here that's going to have to come off.
2 minutes.
Yeah. There's a mount on the back that will need to come off. And the cables have got to come off, drive shaft's got to come out. Some stuff and a bit more stuff. Some things. Yeah. I guess it's just keep taking stuff off.
Yeah, let's just keep on taking stuff off.
What's the worst can happen? That's a clunky old disc, isn't it? Anyway, let's do that. Let's take stuff off.
Back in a minute.
Right. So, probably can't see it on there, don't know. I'll drill it out in the end. That just was not coming out of that one. The other two bolts that are holding the battery box in did come out. It reveals, interestingly, if you can see that, an injector seal. No, put that to one side. Anyway, yeah, it reveals then we've got more bolts up here that are holding the gearbox down, or up, whichever way you look at it. So, I should be able to access those through there, but does the battery tray need to come out? And a great deal holding it in. Will it come out? That electric loom there needs to move, and that should expose access to them bolts under there on the bell housing. Whew. Make it sound so easy. So go bolt there, bolt there. Let me have a look. I'll come back to you on this one. Right, well, as I've just managed to completely cock everything up, put on time lapse and photo and flatten the battery on the microphones and yeah, just all the things.
We're having a terrible tech day because pretty much we didn't charge everything because it's been a day.
Yeah.
So can you see?
Yeah, I just can't fit. They just put that in a bloody awkward place, haven't they? Mm-hmm. Right. So that's the underneath bolts, don't
Right.
we? Need to have a look around the front. Worst case scenario, it will swing. Engine and gearbox will swing around a little bit. But all the while it's got the support from the other engine mount. Make it easier.
I suspect if you don't have a ramp, well, a lift I mean, you probably would need to take the front bumper off, but
It's going to be a lot harder, isn't it?
yeah.
That's for sure.
But we are privileged and we have a lift. But you know what? For all you people who do this on your driveways, God.
Kudos.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you are the real ones.
Not like me. I whinge of the kettle, they're not enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be wobbly.
It's a bit wobbly.
There's another bolt on there somewhere. That one there. There we are.
Finger. I've got a bad finger in case you didn't know.
So just drop the engine mount off the back, shove the bolts back in. They're all different sizes, just to make life a bit more interesting. But that one's that one actually. Yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it? So yeah, that's what comes off the back, which then lets the engine swing around a bit precariously. But that's all the bracketry and bolts from underneath.
Yeah, just come off where?
Comes off there. So you've got the one that goes through there, 3 goes into the side of the gearbox.
Yeah.
Easy as that. Back up top now and see what we can find up there, I think.
Yeah, we got.
Alright. Actually, I can see that one from here, on top. What if I can get to it?
What did I say? I said, shall we lift it to see if you can
No, because I like it's easier if that one is easier to get from the top, but...
I can't.
There.
You're in shot.
Need a laser pointer.
You know when you're in shot, cars up too far.
Well, anyway, at the top, if you're looking at the side of the gearbox, 11:30, there is a bolt, but it's easier to get from the top, I believe.
And that's the one you've been trying to find, isn't it?
Well, that's one of, because the other two round the back are the ones that hold the starter motor on. And yeah, I've got the bottom 2 out. There's the 13mm and a 10mm next to each other on the starter motor. But the ones on top are the ones I'm a bit more, I don't know, because there's a hell of a lot of fuel injection and induction and all that sort of stuff in the way of it.
Right. Well, I guess we won't know until we do it, will we?
Nope. If we can't get to it, move what's in the way.
I'll just put the grinder to it.
Yeah. That's more like it. That's the attitude. They wouldn't invent cutting discs if you weren't meant to use them.
That's right.
Lift going down.
Insert lift music.
Down.
Two hours later.
I had a full load of air when we started this.
Lies. He's never had a full head of air.
Right.
He had a shave once.
Yeah, got told off that.
On her wedding day. What the hell?
Alright. We'll try and find that bolt then.
Do you know what we should invest in? Bonnet mounting GoPro.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing on my mind at this moment. Right,
That's it.
That's on the floor, so that's not going to be a
That sounded
problem.
like a jackpot, didn't it? You know, like when you play the slots, the 2p slots, and it drops down at the bottom.
Right.
We can stay there now.
Yeah.
Perhaps one of the reasons, right, that people scrap these Fiestas, these diesel Fiestas, is because like doing the clutch
Doing anything.
is not fun.
Do you remember the injector? That wasn't exactly fun, was it?
Thing is though, it's a little bit too it's a little bit too decent for us, isn't it? Like we can't get rid of it because
Well,
it just does everything that we need it to do.
yeah, what are you going to replace it with?
Yeah. Because we travel on back roads a lot to come from home to where we are. And there's tractors. And just general farming. And I like to put it in the hedge to get out the way.
Well, not only that, they spend more time bringing the field out into the road than anything else. So you end up driving through effectively cow shit and mud all day long anyway.
Mm-hmm. And now you could do the splits.
Neither did I. Right, my voyage of discovery of where the hell I'm going with this. There is a bolt that's at about 12:30 on the gearbox as you look from the side. And it runs directly in line with an earth cable which goes in the side of the block. And
It's been difficult. Let's just say it's been really difficult to find. Let me try and...
not so difficult to find, it's just getting the bloody
Yeah,
ratchet
it's-
onto it. And
Sorry,
and I think this is the, yeah, it is. This is the one that's a pain in the ass because it's a nut that comes off first, then the earth strap, and then the bolt behind it.
Right,
So,
there it is. You little sausage.
yeah, that's exactly the words I was thinking of. It's not an earth strap, it's a bracket.
Bracket.
Yeah. So there's more to it, yeah. Oh, there's the bracket. The bracket's attached to the bottom of the wiring loom.
Yeah. We've been up, we've been down. Haven't we?
Yeah. I still ain't got the starter motor off yet.
So anyway, I thought perhaps seeing as this is a very difficult bolt to not necessarily find, but get your extension on and undo. I thought perhaps we should show you this.
Yeah.
And
It's not all fun and games, is it?
we'll be back in a bit when.
So the remaining part on there, the actual bolt, is longer than that, so I need a deep reach.
Oof, time for the deep reach.
Which is probably too long to get in there now.
Well, I would have thought, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how much room you've got.
None.
Yeah, we've established that, haven't we?
Well, you're actually on the ball there.
I got my qualification in torch holding.
Tortury. That one's too long, so. I'll tell you what, that.
Oof, oh yeah, you are bleeding.
It's off that.
I'll put something on that now.
Flames.
Yeah. Yikes.
Nearly swore then. That'd be unlikely.
Yeah.
So, stage 2.
Oof. He's got the big one out.
Leverage.
Look at the gloves.
Yeah, working a treat there. Keeping my left finger warm.
Yeah. The one that you don't use.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
Did you have your Weetabix this morning?
No, I didn't.
No, you got a migraine instead, didn't you?
And then I had plain toast.
Oof.
Do you know what? Today is not my day, is it?
No. Today has been a bag of balls.
I'll just do the Fiesta. Idiot.
There it goes.
Why? Why would it be on? Oh, go on, roll.
Just dropped it. Where's it gone?
Rolled underneath.
Oh, it can stay there now. We didn't put the special card under there, did we?
Not under there, no.
Oh, it's gone into that bit, is it?
No.
Right, here we go. Hopefully he doesn't throw the bolt.
It's attached to that now.
Look at it.
All of that. For that
Look at it.
bloody bolt there. Because there's a nut that goes over there, there's a bracket that goes through there, and a nut that goes over the top. First one comes off. Next one, you have to go in for that, which has got that on it. Yeah, you get me. You wouldn't be watching this if you didn't know. That last bolt I just took out with the stupid bloody wires and everything else on it was actually the last bolt holding it together. So a little bit of a poke around with the pry bar and the gearbox has separated.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of bolts on this end holding it up onto the engine mount.
Yeah.
And see where we go from there. So what I want to do is just support the engine with this jack under the engine mount. Let's see how it goes. I think that was the one.
That was the one. I felt it go down.
Normally I reserve yoga for lunch times, but
Yeah, but it's 25 to 8 now. And, well, lunch was 8 hours ago. Just so you know, there was another bolt.
I like we have this on the bowl again. Can you see it?
For a close up. One extension, 2 extensions. Yeah.
Okay, right.
So it's out.
There's a pipe still attached to it though.
Oh.
loosen that. Yeah, that's not only is it dirty, it's actually wet, which normally means there's a leak somewhere, whether it's on the shaft in there.
There's a lot though, it's like...
Oh, it's thick.
Yeah, it's thick.
So,
We'll show you in a second. I'll lift it out. See these two here? Oh.
I'm back.
These are the two mystery bolts that we couldn't find.
Top two for the starter motor.
Yeah.
Right, we'll put that down.
Yeah.
What everybody wants to know though is clutch.
What's the clutch like?
Tune in tomorrow. If only my hands were clean.
You did. Yeah.
Yorkshiremen would be proud to see them.
You got your money's worth. Yeah.
And someone's gloves. Anyway. What do I need for the clutch? I bet it's 10 mils. Yeah, anyway. The GoPro gave up, the
battery,
DJI mics gave up,
everything's gone.
everything. I just...
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't give up. No. And the clutch is out.
Clutch is out.
If you'd like to see it, subscribe to our PayPal. No. Right, this is the clutch, and you'll probably...
Yeah, let's show that end first.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
So this is the flywheel side. As you can see, it's pretty much down on the rivets. There's a few little marks in it. It's not as bad as the one that came out of the Suzuki.
Yeah.
That had gone furry.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's that. To the side, on the old pressure plate side. As you can see, those of you old enough to remember vinyl records, yeah, that's seen some action, hasn't it? There's a lot of scores, there's a lot of heat marks, there's a lot of problems. And the actual pressure, the friction plate itself, yeah, them rivets, look, it shouldn't have worn down. Shouldn't have worn down that far. Yeah, so I chuckle because, I mean, that's really ridiculous, really. I shouldn't have let that happen. But when we bought it a year ago, the clutch was slipping and it won't slip anymore now.
No, but we do think this is the original clutch.
It's definitely, well, it's hard to say because it was a police vehicle. They would have put a motorcraft clutch back in, but it's UK manufactured, but it's a motorcraft part. Motorcraft back in the day being Ford parts. So, yeah, I'm going to make this into a clock, and but yeah, so it's definitely, as they say in salvage rebuilds, it's been a clutch too long.
It has been a clutch too long.
So we shall now order the correct clutch and pressure plate and slave cylinder, and we shall refit.
Yeah.
But I think the slave cylinder's been leaking as well because the inside of the gearbox is pretty mucky, isn't it?
It's isn't it?
Yeah. And when I look at the crank end bearing, there's no leak there going into the gearbox, so the flywheel's dry.
Yeah. Should we have a look at the slave cylinder?
Let's have a look at the slave cylinder. Hold hands.
Yeah, I know.
So, down to the gearbox. Like we've just mentioned, it's gross inside there, as you'd expect, but it's actually wet. That's a bit of a shouldn't be. Lovely silent bearing on that. Concentric slave cylinder. We did notice on the pipes that come out the side of the gearbox, only one of them had a pipe on it, the other side didn't.
Yeah.
Which is
Don't know why.
it's unusual, but that'll be coming out in a minute, and that'll get replaced at the same time. And just for that, Date stamp is 2007, so it's definitely an original gearbox.
Yeah,
Woo!
excellent.
Should we go home now?
Yeah, I suppose we should.
In the Fiesta?
Yeah.
You push, I'll steer.
Yeah, we will.
There we are. Fully prepared as always am. First thing I'm going to do is change over the concentric slave cylinder. One in this box. It's a bit noisy. It's in bad days. Wrong, sorry, it's a socket. So this is a piece of cake really. 3 10mm, 8mm, 3 8mm. Literally just unscrew them, pop it out, pop the new one in, tighten up the bolts. Obviously got 9 miles of thread on them. And even though I've got what I would say is a fairly substantial workshop, I've still managed to cram myself into a corner. All this space, and I ain't using it. So yeah, that should just slide off of there. Slide. There we are. One, it's not destroyed, but there's obvious signs of wear. It's gone through the plate onto the copper underneath it. Yeah, you can see that. And it does look damp. Something somewhere has been leaking, but we know we did have a diesel leak before, which went down into the gearbox, so it's possibly that. But it does smell, smells contaminated with brake fluid, so it could well have been. Could be, because the slave cylinder could have been leaking anyway. But yeah, so I just walked all the way across the workshop to get a new slave cylinder. So as part of the rep kit, the rep set, you get a new one. As you can see, that's got a lot more resistance, a lot cleaner, and yeah, it's good to go. So let's get this stuffed in. So it's reassuring when things clip into place as they should. With any luck, we'll have this all put back together and leaving it this evening because we've got a meal booked for 6:30, something like that, and it's currently 1:05. Otherwise, I'm going in the punishment Fiat. Beautiful. Next up, grab a 10mm, jump under the car, and we'll put the pressure plate and friction plate on. That I need my clutch alignment tool for. Yeah. So where are we at? We've got our pressure plate, we've got our clutch alignment tool. Pressure plate, friction plate, one of them days. So what I do is I screw one end of this tool on, which goes inside the spigot. The second part, which floats on the shaft of that, goes inside the spline on there. Slide the spigot into there, and that aligns. I know Dad's giving me a ring. Dad, what are you doing? Hang on. Right. Back to where we were, and after an entertaining phone call with my dad, we are back on this. So, I can't remember where I got to, so. Clutch alignment tool. Bit screws on, slides, Look at your clutch friction plate, and on somewhere it will say either gearbox or flywheel side. This one says gearbox side. Through that way, slide in, that's it, that's aligned. It's not perfect, but it's adequate. So next up, get the pressure plate. On the pressure plate, you'll notice there will be holes that line up with these pins. So you've got the 6 that sit flush there for the bolts to go through, and the 3 that sit there for the alignment plugs. Carefully. Like that. There we are. Shove the bolts in finger tight, which will hold it all. By which time, once you've done these up finger tight, it'll hold everything in tight enough to remove the alignment tool. All right, so now they're in just finger tight. If I line that up to the middle, that's it, that's going to be held there, so that's fine. Just go round, tighten these slowly but surely. If you can, remember, go oppose them, opposites. Because if you do them all in sequentially, it will pinch one side of the disc, could move it. And once that's all done, alignment tool comes out, that's ready for the drive shaft, the input shaft from the gearbox to go in there. Push gearbox back up, mate it up together, stuff all these bolts back in what's known as a slow, arduous and possibly painful process. Just for that, I gave it a cursory wipe around inside the bell housing, get rid of all the greasy residue that was in there. It's not perfectly clean, to be fair. It's enough for what I needed to do. If this was going out, if this is a retail job, I would put a lot more effort into it, to be fair. True to form, as you saw from the previous bit of video, I was struggling to get that in there, so eventually I stopped recording because, well, I'd run out of batteries anyway. But as you can see, we have a gearbox inside there now. It's pushed in, a few bolts holding it in. Top gearbox mount is back in, so it's stable. I mean, it still needs a bottom mount doing. So I've just done a bit of recording, didn't turn the microphone on, so I'll show you on there. This will be me about now pushing the reversing light switch back on and pointing out that the gear selector cables, as you can see, they're dangling down. They're not fitted, and thousands of earth wires are not fitted, and ECU's not fitted, and the list goes on, really. So we got to the point, anyway, like I said, was I just managed to shove the gearbox on. It was a pig of a job to get back in. It has to be very precise to get the splines to line up, but it went in. Nobody's been hurt, nothing's been damaged. Yeah, it's taken longer than I anticipated, but we'll get there and carry on. So what I've got to do now is chuck it up in the air, I think, and go around the back, do the starter motor bolts, the bolt around the back there, bottom mount, then come up to the top for the 2 invisible starter motor bolts, the 2 top gearbox bell housing bolts, and that'll be it, bolted back in. As we come around here then, you'll see there's various bolt holes, which don't have anything in them. They don't line up with anything. There's no threaded hole behind there. Good with torch and everything now. Yeah, so there's no threaded hole in there and nothing lines up with there. So that one does line up. There's a bolt that goes through there. You can see the starter motor there. There's a bolt that goes in the back of there. And one below it as well, so that's moved. And then over to the top, and then there's the 3 bolts there, and the long one that goes through there for the bottom engine mount, which makes a big difference. As I was just saying a minute ago, all the cables need connecting in the bottom of there. Once that's done, I concentrate back up the top. Won't worry about drive shafts and stuff for the moment. Yeah, that's what I'm up to. Quick situation report. All I've done since the last update is I started just buttoning things up inside here, and I can't really get with a camera to show where stuff is. And you just about see below this pipe, right in the back, you'll just see the head of one of the bolts, maybe. Anyway, there's bolts all the way around the bell housing, as you'd expect. They seem to go at odd numbers if you're looking at a clock face. So you've got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, like that, with the occasional one missing, just good fun. And at the top, behind, you see the black hose with a corrugated corner on it. Behind there is 2 10mm bolts which hold the starter motor in. They're a bit awkward to get to, but it is doable if you know where to find them. So currently, yeah, as I say, I'm just putting all this wiring loom back in where it belongs, get the battery tray back in, get the ECU put back in, jump back underneath, fill the gearbox with oil, bleed the clutch, put the selector cables on, drive shafts in before I fill it with oil probably. Make a mess otherwise, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's all we've done so far. So, an intermediate, unexciting update. I'll be back. Oh. Another sit rep. Battery trays back in. Replace the bolt I snapped. Terminals are there ready for putting the battery in. ECU's back in. Air intake pipes back on. Basically, it's just put back together. Everything that comes off goes back on. It's all got a place. It's kind of self-explanatory where it goes. But next up, dry shafts, put them back in. Then gear linkage cables, fill it with oil, bleed the clutch, and then find out where all the bits that aren't working. Won't be long. And just like that, one of my classic jump to the closure jobs. Yeah, we messed around a few bits and bobs, put everything else that was remaining on the bottom, which was only the cables, filled the gearbox with oil, bled the clutch a couple of times, bled that, Put it on the floor and it works very well. Not a lot more to say really. That's the Fiesta, the last clutch that car will ever see probably.
In your lifetime?
In its lifetime.
Yeah.
And
But in our lifetime of owning it.
yeah, because I'm never going to sell it anyway. Never ever, all right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little Fiesta reclutched. It's amazingly light. The one that was in there before, it felt sluggish
Yeah, it did.
and still tight.
Very heavy as well. It was.
But this one it's like there's no pedal there. I didn't think, when I done it, my initial reaction was that the clutch wasn't even engaging when moving, but transpires it does. And I've moved it back and forth in here. Happy days. That's us done for this one. God knows what's next. Probably something more on that Seat.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe the Seat, maybe the brakes on the Iveco. Don't know yet.
The brakes on the Iveco.
Yeah, maybe.
Iveco Daily, 2013 handbrake. Oh my God.
Handbrake, yeah.